Welcome to Healthcare Connector, a podcast for amplifying the voices of women and people of color in healthcare.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Healthcare Connector. Today, we have Miss Savannah here. So I'm so happy that she has joined us, and we don't beat around the bush, so we're going to just jump right into this. So my first question for you, Savannah, is who is Savannah? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a registered nurse. I have a background in public health and nursing administration. I am a mom. I am the owner and CEO of Final Draft Healthcare Solutions, which is a healthcare consulting company. I do volunteer work. I'm a board member of a local nonprofit agency, and I'm a dream chaser.
It sounds like it. I love it. I love it. I love people who chase their dreams. It sounds like we've got a lot to get into. So I like to always start with asking people, what are you most proud of when it comes to your career or your business?
I would say I'm most proud of the fact that I took advantage of opportunities earlier in my career that I didn't know. I didn't know how they would help me in the future, but I took advantage of those opportunities, and they actually helped me move further along in my career faster. So from the very start of my career, my mindset was I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and everywhere I went, I was there to learn as much as I can, gain as much information as I can, as much experience. And I took advantage of every opportunity that I could get, and that really helped me out in the long run. Even though at those times I didn't know how it would help me in the future, I took advantage of opportunities, and I'm proud that I did that because it gave me more opportunities in the future.
So, Key, because I think that's interesting, because a lot of times people will be presented with an opportunity and it doesn't match what they have in their mind for their career. And I know myself, I've struggled with that. And, people say, okay, why are you taking this role? That don't quite make sense. So can you give us an example of one of the opportunities that came your way that you decided, okay, I'm going to do this, even if it might not seem right to other people, or I don't know what it's going to lead to?
I would say committees in the workplace. All the way back to the beginning of my nursing career, I was invited to be on the community advisory board for a program called Nurse Family Partnership, which is a home visiting program for pregnant moms and new babies. And at the time, I had just started my public health career. I didn't know what would come from it. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I said, hey, it's an opportunity. So why not just give it a try and see what I can learn and see what comes from it. And that, I would say that was the beginning of my consulting as a nurse, because I didn't realize at the time that I was consulting, but being on committees in the workplace and in the community gave me that experience to help with making decisions for programs and help to implement new strategies and a lot of different things that they were able to, that we did in those programs that taught me how to consult in the long run. And I joined a lot of other committees like that after that as well. But that was the first nursing committee that I joined.
So you've got this background in public health and nursing. So let's take it back, to the beginning. Well, not all at the beginning, but a lot of the people that I talk to have very different career paths or educational paths. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about the path you took, education and career to get to this point where you are today? Because it sounds like it's a little bit public health and a little bit nursing.
So I worked as a public health nurse. So okay. I would say my career in healthcare goes all the way back to when I was in high school. I took Allied Health Science, which is a class that they offered to seniors in high school that prepared them to be a certified nursing assistant. So I knew I wanted to go into nursing before that. So I took that class so I could get a little bit of insight beforehand. And when I graduated from high school, I went directly into my bachelor's in nursing. And I finished my bachelor's in nursing. And most people say you have to go to the hospital, you have to work in med surg. That's not true.
Yeah.
I went directly into public health and I worked as a public health
Okay.
nurse. I worked
Mhm.
in a lot of different roles in public health. I worked as a school nurse. I've done case management. I've worked in a clinic doing like family planning and STD clinics. I managed a program, a breast and cervical cancer program, and I also, like I said earlier, I participated in a lot of different committees along the way, from
Mhm.
practice improvement to strategic planning to everything that
Mhm.
I could be a part of and learn from. And I also joined mentorship programs in the workplace, and I volunteered my time as much as I could. And then I went and got my master's in nursing administration. So by the end of my
Wow.
master's program, I knew that consulting was my thing. So that was my journey of getting there.
So that's what I want to hear more about, because anyone that follows me knows I love when people take their knowledge and their experience and turn that into a consultant business. So can you tell us a little bit about, your business, what type of consulting you do? And then after that, I'm gonna ask you a little bit about entrepreneurship, because that's a whole nother topic. But tell us a little bit about your company first.
Yes, so I do strategic planning, program development. I write grants, program improvement. And basically, the administrative part of the healthcare business is what I help with. And I didn't mention before, my business experience goes back farther than my nursing experience. I work. My business experience started in trucking. My
Oh
dad
wow!
owns.
Wait, oh no, crazy. Okay.
My dad owns a trucking company that he opened when I was in
Mhm.
elementary school, and as soon as I was old enough to work, I I got a job with him, and I did everything in that business, from cleaning up the office and filing papers to running errands, making bank deposits, to helping with payroll, everything that you could think of, and everything in between.
So I think that's interesting. And we're going to go into the business a little bit more, but I was going to ask you about entrepreneurship. But seeing your dad as an entrepreneur, you already had this entrepreneur bug.
Yes.
So what have you learned? So you had all, you worked with him and you saw him working, but what is a lesson that you've learned through being an entrepreneur yourself?
Um, Business foundation is transferable across boards, but every business is so different. You have to learn new
Mm-hmm.
things for every business. So um, those principles are important to learn and keep with you, but you also have to be open and know that you're going to have to learn more along the way, because every business has its own unique challenges and processes and everything.
Yeah, I think you're right. I post all the time that, like, if a successful business owner is someone who is constantly learning. What's something that you are learning right now? Is there anything that you've identified that you want to learn more about to kind of help grow your business or anything?
I'm learning marketing. Marketing has been a big thing for me to learn lately.
Yeah,
I'm learning more
look,
and
I
more
think
every day
it's
about marketing.
I think that a lot of us in healthcare, I don't want to say that we struggle, but when you come from working for other companies within healthcare, the marketing part is done for you. And then when you get out here, you got to do all the marketing and get comfortable with it. And like, the marketing never stops.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what I've learned about it. What is something, can you tell us anything about, well, so since you started consulting, what's been one of your favorite projects that you work on?
I'll say developing programs. I enjoy developing programs from scratch, just um, whether it be from a grant opportunity or an idea that someone has. I really enjoy just taking an idea and developing it out into a full grown program.
Yeah. I love it, and especially the grant writing. Like I would imagine that people are like knocking on your door all the time to try to because you have those grant writing skills, and there's so much money out there to be had. Um, Switching gears a little bit, what do you think that is something that people misunderstand about your field of work? So, what do people misunderstand a lot about going into nursing or going and getting a nursing degree?
That is not going to be easy, and it's something that requires resilience and perseverance, and you have to be willing to get through those hard parts to get to where you desire. And to take that farther, something that people don't understand about consulting is that it's still a part of nursing. One of the first questions I get when I tell people what I do is that, oh, you're not a nurse anymore, or oh, so you don't practice nursing anymore. And it is very much a part of nursing if you're doing it in the nursing field. So that was actually a part of my master's in nursing program, and which is how I learned that I wanted to do that by giving assignments in that program to teach about consulting.
Okay. Did you or what do you think is a lesson or is it important for people to learn about the business of healthcare? Because it sounds like in that program that you were in, like you learned about consulting and how to start your own business. I don't think everyone knows that. Do you think that's important?
It is important. They teach a lot that prepares you to be a business owner in nursing programs and healthcare programs, but they don't teach you directly how to start a business. So a lot of people think that it's not something that we can do, but you just have to figure out how to use that knowledge that you have to turn it into a business, and then of course learn those other skills that are needed to run a business as well.
Definitely. Well, it's been a crazy like last 18 months in healthcare with COVID and just everything going on in the world. What is and I'm pretty sure, you know, being a nurse and with nurse consulting, like lots of work coming your way. What is still motivating you to get up and come in and consult and do your job and try to change healthcare? What motivates you?
I would say my goals. I have goals. I have goals for this week. I have goals for the month. I have goals for the quarter, for the year. I have 5-year goals. I have a 15-year goal, and I have a vision for my life. And those goals don't just include me. They include my children. They include nurses everywhere. They include the healthcare industry as a whole and things that I want to do for the industry. So having those goals and knowing what they are keeps me going, because as long as those goals aren't met, I have work to do.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you have something to work towards. So since you mentioned that, where is Savannah in the next 5 years? Savannah and Savannah's business. Where would you like it to see it?
In the next 5 years, hopefully, it's scaled to offer multiple programs, and I would like to be fully staffed at that point. And hopefully, in 5 years, we'll be at a place where I don't have to work in the business full time because I have those other goals, like I said, that I need to get to. So at some point, once it's fully functional and it can run on its own, I hope to be able to step out at least part time and be able to pursue some other goals as far as other businesses and projects that I would like to do.
So you have all these goals. How do you find your balance? Are there certain tools, or how have you been able to find balance between the business, the mom, you know, the entrepreneur, your other goals that you want to accomplish? How do you find the balance and the time to do it all?
So it's taking time, and it's taking some strategic planning, which is one of my specialties. And I plan out my personal life the same way I plan out business, because it has to be planned out in order to make it work. So I took the vision that I had for my life and I wrote that down, where I want to see myself ultimately. What is the ideal life for me? And I broke that down to figure out, okay, from that vision, how far can I get in 5 years? And that's how I came up with my 5-year goals. And I worked backwards to the year, the quarter, the month, and the week. And that way I can make sure that what I'm doing every day matches where I'm trying to be long term. Because if you don't break it down from where you're trying to go, then you'll easily get off track and you won't make it to your destination that you would like to go to. So that having a routine, setting boundaries, and this didn't come easy. I've had coaches and mentors along the way to help me out. I've taken a lot of trainings, and it really took a lot for me to figure out how to balance life and make time for business and my children and myself. Keep my house in order. So it takes a strategy. You have to really sit down and plan it out.
And those boundaries are important, and I think for me, it has been a lot harder to maintain those boundaries as a consultant versus at work, because you're the person that is ultimately responsible for making sure the deliverables are done. Like when a company decides to pay you for strategic planning, they want to make sure that gets done. And so how do you approach setting boundaries with the clients that come onto your business?
I only have certain times on my schedule that I actually meet with people, and I have certain times blocked off where I'm actually doing work that doesn't require me to be face to face with people. So if it's outside of those hours that I scheduled to meet with people, then unless it's, if there's an exception that really requires me to go outside of those hours, then I can change my schedule if I need to. But I try to stick to those hours that I blocked off specifically for that.
Definitely. And it's so important, or else it will just eat up all of your time.
Exactly. And I'm sorry. I was just going to say another thing that I had to do is turn off notifications. When I started, I found that my phone was dinging all day, every day, and my computer was dinging all day, every day. And even if you try not to pay attention to it, it's a distraction. So I had to learn to turn off my notifications and be okay with whatever happens while my notifications are off. It's okay. If it's an emergency, someone can get in contact with me. So learning to turn everything off when it needs to be turned off and focus when you need to focus.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't know if any of your clients do this, but I have a client that uses Slack, and someone is always on Slack, always instant messaging, and like those notifications be coming through all the time, and I couldn't get anything done. Like even on the time when I was supposed to be with the company, I would get so distracted by those notifications, and so I had to be like, pause the notifications for an hour, or I'm pausing the notifications at the end of the day. So I definitely get that. That's a really good tip to share. What about tips for, if we have some younger listeners, those who are thinking about going into nursing or going into public health? What would be one piece of advice that you would give them?
I would say follow your dreams, but be flexible on your path. Know where you want to go, but understand that it may not look exactly the way you thought it would look. So as long as you know where you want to go, you'll end up there one way or another, because if one opportunity doesn't work out, or if something happens in that process that changes a little bit, then you know what opportunities are okay. You know what you need to avoid. You have some direction. So be flexible on that path and be open to different things. Be open to those opportunities that come up. And even if you don't know if it's a good opportunity, if you don't know if it's for you, at least look at it and hear about it before you turn it down. Don't turn things down before you even know what they are.
Definitely. I love that. Follow your dreams, but be flexible on the path. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to give you your credit. I'm going to make sure I put like By Savannah up under that. But that is a great quote, because we got to be flexible, because you talked about this earlier. Like you never know what certain opportunities are going to, what they're going to lead to. And sometimes when something is you're so close to something and it's right in front of you, you can't see what may be right around the corner.
Exactly.
you are this really successful person, in public health, in nursing, mom, like family, but we all have obstacles that we've had to face, or I don't like to say failure, but we've had learning opportunities. So, what's an example of a learning opportunity that you've experienced in your career, and then what did you learn from it, from going through that experience?
Let's
That's a tough
see.
question.
Yeah, I was gonna say a mistake that I made was not setting firm boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that would be a good one to use, even in my career and outside of my career. Just in general, I had a hard time with setting boundaries because I always I'm a nice person. I wanted to be seen as a good person. I didn't want people to think I was mean, or that I didn't want people to feel like I would ignore them for any reason or anything, or I didn't want people to feel like I was a bad friend. But not setting boundaries really took up a lot of time, energy, and money that I didn't have to waste over time. Whether in the workplace or outside of work, um, you have to set firm boundaries, because if you don't, people will feel like you're open to anything, and they will take advantage of that and use your time and your energy as much as they want. And
They
it
sure
will slow you
will.
down on your goals. It will get you off your path. It will stall you tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
um get when you have a path and you're trying to get somewhere, the smallest things can take you off, and it takes time to get back on your path. So you have to have boundaries
Mm-hmm.
to look out for yourself and make sure that you're able to reach your dreams and your goals.
Definitely. Are there any tools or like resources that you use in your business or in your daily life that helps you maintain those boundaries? I don't know if there's any like software programs, meal prep, like structured schedule. I don't know, any type of tool that like you got to have in place to make sure that you have those boundaries.
I try to plan everything out, from meal prepping to what I'll be doing each day. So,
Mm-hmm.
meal prepping helped me tremendously. I realized that at one point that I was spending so much time just trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to have for dinner today? And then having to prepare it, and then having to cook it. And it's so much better when you prepare. And I actually hired an organizational strategist at one point to help me figure out how to save some time and get things in order. And she made it even better for me. So at that time, I was planning out my meals on the weekend, and then grocery shopping and meal prepping. But she said, hey, you don't have to sit and think about that every weekend. When you make a meal plan, use that as a template and print out of several templates of meal plans. And then that way, all you have to do is go pick one for the week. So
Mm-hmm.
now I have several weeks of meals written down. And when on Fridays, before I get ready to order my groceries, I go to my documents and I pick one, so I don't even have to think it all the way through. It has what I need for the week. It has what we're having for the week, what the kids will have for
Yeah.
lunch, snacks, everything on it. So I don't have to think it through. I just have to order whatever we don't have in the house. And
Yeah.
my
Kudos to
planner,
you.
my planner is my lifesaver. Um, Having everything written down really helps me out. I know you said software. I tried using different things on my phone to help me, the calendar or different
Mm-hmm.
softwares, and I found that I was ignoring that when I turned off my notifications. I was
Notifications.
ignoring
Yeah.
that, so I have to have things written down. But you have to figure out what works for you. But I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different tools in place. Like, I have a certain day of every month that I sit down and write my goals for the next month. I have certain days already planned out for everything that's routine. Anything that has to be done over and over, it's already planned into my schedule. So I don't have to figure out a time to sit down and do it, or figure out how to make it work. It's already planned out. I know when I'm going to I plan to plan. I know when I'm going to sit down and write my quarterly goals out. I know when I'm going to sit down and write my monthly goals. I know when I'm going to sit and look at my goals for the week, review them. And that really just helps me keep it together, especially with kids. You never know what's going to happen. So you might not have time to do all those things. And I'm just learning how to automate things, basically. It's the
That's
key.
Right. And it is the key. I mean, so like kudos to you. I still cannot get on the meal planner. I keep telling myself I'm gonna get there one day, but I haven't gotten there yet. But I know how much time it can save. So I'm gonna have to reach out to you just to get the meal prepping tips. And then what you said about goals, I think we hear it all the time, and definitely like seeing it through you. You can't keep your goals in your head. Like you gotta write down the goal, and then you gotta write down the task and the objectives to get you to that goal. And that sounds like what you've been able to do to get you to this point. Can you tell us something that you're working on right now that you're real passionate about? Is there a project or a program or anything that you're working on?
I am working on a couple projects right now. I am working on developing a nurse entrepreneurship course. A course that can be used throughout nursing curriculums to prepare nurses for entrepreneurship. Because, like I stated before, we have the skills and the knowledge and the ability to do it, but nobody spells it out for you and explains it. And entrepreneurship is a specialty, just like public health is a specialty, just like every other area of nursing is a specialty. And it's becoming more and more popular. And people come to me all the time and say, well, how do you even know where to get started? How do you know what skills to use to start a business? How do I decide what type of business to start? How do you do this? So I'm really, I enjoy helping people with that, and I'm really passionate about that. I'm actually working on a grant application to be able to develop that course for nursing as a whole.
I love it. Like you said, you hear a lot more about entrepreneurship, and I always tell people, if you want to know what you're expert in, take a look at what people are coming to you and asking you. And so it sounds like you've done that. If everybody's coming to you asking you about how to become an entrepreneur and where to start, then that's what you got to do. And I'm all about monetizing that expertise. So I can't wait to see it. And definitely once it's done, got to come back and tell us more about it. As we wrap up, please, I want to make sure the audience knows how to get in contact with you. So tell us the name of your business again, and then if someone needs your assistance, what you can help with and where they can contact you.
So my business is Final Draft Healthcare Solutions. The contact email for the business is info@Final Draft Healthcare Solutions, and I'll send that to you to put in the show notes.
Yes.
That's info@Final Draft Healthcare Solutions. You can find us on Facebook at Final Draft Healthcare Solutions, PLLC, on LinkedIn at Final Draft Healthcare Solutions, on Instagram at Final Draft _Healthcare Solutions. And if you would like to reach out to me personally, you can find me on Facebook as Savannah Nicole, Instagram as Savannah Nicole, and on LinkedIn as Savannah Anderson.
And you all don't got to remember all that because, like she said, we're going to put it down in the show notes. So please, 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 if you are a nurse and you want to go in entrepreneurship, if you're looking for someone to help you with your strategic planning, your public health, please reach out to Savannah and her business because she knows about it. Look, she's been doing this since way before it became the popular thing. So make sure you reach out to her. Anything else that you want to share before we go?
No, that's it. I just wanted to add, whether you are just thinking about starting a business or whether you are a leader in a healthcare business already and need help with strategic planning, developing a new program, which direction to go from here, any of that, just feel free to reach out to me for any of those needs.
Okay.
And that's it.
Well, thank you, everyone. Make sure you subscribe to this so you don't miss any of our next episodes. And again, I am so appreciative for Savannah coming on to the show and showing people that there's more to nursing than just bedside care. There are so many different paths that you can take, and you just got to go out there and follow your dreams, but be flexible with the path.
Exactly.
So thank you all. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Healthcare Connector. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to like and subscribe using your favorite podcast app. See you next time.